Guys. My name is Andrew. I was doing this, putting together this Bible study for the youth ministry, um, and I just wanted to wanted to be able to share with you guys a little bit of it, and it's mainly for the youth, but it's for everyone. So if you guys, have an open mind or open heart, to receive, then that's cool. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get right into it. Um, Today I'm just going to be reading off of the book of 1 Samuel chapter 16, verses 1 through 13. Amen. So I'm going to go ahead and get right into it, and I'm going to begin. Amen. 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 1 through 13. And the Bible reads, "The Lord said to Samuel, 'How long will you mourn for Saul, since I have rejected him as king over Israel? Fill your horn with oil and be on your way. I am sending you to Jesse of Bethlehem. I have chosen one of his sons to be king.' But Samuel said, 'How can I go? Saul will hear about it and kill me.' The Lord said, 'Take a heifer with you and say, I have come to sacrifice to the Lord. Invite Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will show you what to do. You are to anoint for me the one I indicate.' Samuel did what the Lord said. When he arrived at Bethlehem, the elders of the town trembled when they met him. They asked, 'Do you come in peace?' Samuel replied, 'Yes, in peace I have come to sacrifice to the Lord.' 'Consecrate yourselves and come to the sacrifice with me.' Then he consecrated Jesse and his sons and invited them to the sacrifice. When they arrived, Samuel saw Eliab and thought, 'Surely the Lord's anointed stands here before the Lord.' But the Lord said to Samuel, 'Do not consider his appearance or his height, for I have rejected him. The Lord does not look at the things man looks at. Man looks at the outer appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart.'" Amen. Then Jesse called Abinadab and had him pass in front of Samuel. But Samuel said, "The Lord has not chose this one either." Jesse then had Shammah pass by him, but Samuel said, nor has the Lord chosen this one." Jesse had 7 of his sons pass before Samuel, but Samuel said to him, "The Lord has not chosen these." So he asked Jesse, "Are these all the sons you have?" There is still the youngest," said Jesse, "but he is tending the sheep." Samuel said, "Send for him. We will not sit down until he arrives." So he sent and had him brought in. He was ruddy with a fine appearance and handsome features. Then the Lord said, "Rise and anoint him. He is the one." So Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the presence of his brothers. And from that day on, the Spirit of the Lord came upon David in power. Samuel then went to Ramah. Amen. Now, with that, tonight or today, I'm going to be talking about family matters. And what's family matters? Well, there's 2 meanings. First meaning, family matters as in family issues. Second meaning, family matters as in family is important. How many know that family is important? Amen. How many know that we also have issues in our families? We're not all perfect. See, in the book of 1 Samuel, as I just read, it talks about King David before he was king as a young shepherd boy, the youngest out of 8 brothers. See, David had issues with his brothers, thinking less of him because of he was the youngest out of 8, and because he was small, he was. It says in chapter 16, verse 12, in 1 Samuel, that he was ruddy with a fine appearance and handsome features. So he wasn't ugly, but he wasn't like his brothers. See, later on in the chapter, in verse 28, I believe, it talks about David fighting the lion and bear, and he ends up killing the lion and the bear from protecting the sheep. So I believe that David had a warrior inside of him. Amen. See, his brothers were big, strong warriors. They had experience. But God has spoke to Samuel. Has God spoken to any of you guys lately? Amen. He spoke to Samuel and told him that he was to go to Bethlehem because he had chosen one of Jesse's sons to be king. See, when Samuel found David, he found him tending the sheep in the field. He had sent someone to go get him. Amen. He didn't see him as a boy. He saw him with big faith. Amen. See, when God found you, you could have been in depression. You could have been feeling loneliness. You could have been maybe thinking you weren't anybody, or you were thinking less of yourself. But God doesn't see the outside like man does. He sees your heart. He saw something in you that you couldn't see. Amen. Out of 8 brothers, God chose David, the little shepherd boy, to raise up. See, God called you, young people, no matter what issues you have. God called you by name. Amen. Just like God anointed David, he anointed the youth gang ministry. He anointed the new gen. He anointed all of you guys that are sitting out there in your seats right now. God anointed you guys. I see the potential that all of you have, and I think you guys need to see that. You guys need to grab a hold of that calling that God has set out for you and just run with it. Take it full force. Take those gifts that God has given you and just activate them. Amen. You see in chapter 16, verse 26, verse 26 through 28, it says, and I'm just paraphrasing, that David was hearing the other people talk bad about them and was thinking, well, what are we going to do about it? These other people were talking bad about God's army. So it's like, what are we going to do about it? David was sent to the battlefield to just go deliver some things to the soldiers. And as he went, he saw his brothers and he greeted them and he was talking to them. And at that time, he heard the other people defiling, saying things to them, So and in chapter 2, in verse 28, it says that David's older brother heard him speaking with the man about what's going to be done. And David's brother, burned with anger at him and asked, "Why have you come down here? And with whom did you leave those few sheep in the desert? I know how conceited you are and how wicked your heart is. You come down only to watch the battle." I mean, can you believe that? David's brother was telling him pretty much, "What are you doing here? This ain't your place. Go, you're a servant boy. Go. Where's the sheep at? Who'd you leave the sheep with alone?" And see, to me, his brother was looking down at him because of who he was. He didn't have no experience, But that wasn't going to stop David from achieving what God has set out for him to do, See, David had a Goliath in his path. Just like you and I, we have a Goliath in our path. My Goliath could be different from your Goliath, and your Goliath could be different from my Goliath. But see, Goliath can be anything that can hinder us. It could be lying. It could be hate. It could be hanging out with the wrong crowd. It could be self-destructing. It could be depression. It could be you thinking that you're not good enough. But whatever it is, we got to overcome those Goliaths, just like David did. In 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 32, David said to Saul, "Let no one lose heart on account of the Philistine. Your servant will go and fight him." Saul replied, "You are not able to go fight the Philistine. You are only a boy, and he has been fighting men since he was young." Well, let me tell you, young people, you guys ain't too young to go and fight a Goliath. You guys ain't too young to overcome any trial or temptation. You guys are not too young to go and reach a city. You guys ain't too young to go and reach the hurting souls out there. Amen. And I'm gonna go ahead and finish with this in the book of 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 12. "Do not let anyone look down on you because you are young, but set an example for the believers in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity. Amen. Amen. I just wanted to share that with you guys. Uh, I just, I pray that, it touched you guys, that it spoke to you. I'm not quite fully done with it, but it's just a rough draft of what God led me to talk about. So I just hope you guys are all blessed. Amen. God bless you guys.